A lot of people have asked, how does the HOA budget and what do all those terms mean? Hopefully, this presentation will answer some of your questions. Feel free to drop me an email if I can be of further assistance. I have simplified our HOA budgeting by breaking our various expense accounts into 3 buckets. In addition, I have simplified our revenue into 2 faucets. Also, something that confuses a lot of people is how we fund the reserve account. I have characterized that revenue stream as a leak. We're not really losing money, we're just siphoning off some funds from one expense account to another. Let's start with everyone's favorite topic, HOA assessment fees, our first faucet or stream. Currently, the assessment is $695 for every house and condo in the village. This faucet goes into a single bucket, the operations bucket. Operation funds are yearly expenses, things like payroll, annual maintenance, security, etc. All those things that we need to pay every year. Now comes the leak, or the siphoning off of funds from one bucket to another. Every few years we hire a company to estimate what it will cost us to repair or replace our facilities. For instance, we need to replace our air conditioners every 18 years. This company also determines how much money we should put in this reserve bucket to keep the village healthy. I'll talk a little bit more about Healthy Village a little later in the presentation. Now for the second faucet, home sales. When you bought your house, you contributed 3 fees to the HOA. A capital contribution fee, a transfer fee, and a disclosure fee. As of today, those amounts are $2,000 for capital, $250 for transfer, and $216 for disclosure. Just to make things more complicated, we split this revenue stream into 2. The capital contribution goes into the capital bucket, and the transfer and disclosure fees go into the operations bucket. As shown here, the capital bucket funds new buildings, land purchases, and remodels. The community votes on everything from this bucket except for building costs that are less than $100,000, which the board can authorize. Pretty clear, huh? Well, let's take a look at how we're spending our money in each of the buckets. This chart highlights the major expense categories in our operations bucket. Our total budget in 2022 is $2,024,159. And as you might expect, payroll here is the largest portion, with both landscape and utilities being a significant portion. Also, you can see right here that the reserve funding is also a significant amount. For 2022, it is $234,243. That's the money that's going to get siphoned into the next bucket. You can get all the details available on the website, svehoa.com. It's important to remember that bingo funds are not part of any HOA budget. Neither the manager nor the board has the authority to spend any bingo funds. For that, you need to chat with the bingo people. Also, to simplify the explanation, I have not included activities expenses. Sometimes we make money on our activities and sometimes we lose money. As you might guess, however, we do try to make it a net positive. Now, the reserve budget, probably the most misunderstood and confusing of all of the buckets. Reserve funds are used to repair and replace those items that don't need to be repaired or replaced every year. For 2022, our total budget is $454,025. We're projected to spend a significant amount on various sports facilities as well as improvements to the auditorium. And as I briefly introduced before, a third-party contractor determines what these reserve costs will be, and they suggest that a healthy HOA's reserve fund should be more than 60% funded. So, what does this 60% funded mean? Easiest way to describe is with a scenario. Let's say there was some catastrophe that caused all of our facilities to break at once. So now they all need repairing or replacing all at the same time. Oh, and our insurance doesn't pay for it. If we were 100% funded, we would be able to replace or repair all of our capabilities and facilities that broke. No HOA, as you can imagine, is ever 100% funded, and the experts tell us that if we are 60% funded or higher, we are a healthy HOA. So at the end of next year, at the end of 2023, we project that our reserves will be 64% funded. To learn more about the reserve budget, you can check out Bylaw 1.3.21. The final and simplest bucket is the capital bucket, used for new buildings, land purchases, and to remodel existing facilities. Our total budget for 2022 is $435,200, the majority going into the new multi-use building. Oh, by the way, the Pickleball Club withdrew their Palo Verde remodel request. This bucket has the most money currently in it. It's a little bit over $1 million as we speak. Again, for extra credit, you can study Bylaw 1.3.22 for the rest of the story on capital. So, how does money get added to the budget? It turns out any club, individual, committee can request funds. It's pretty straightforward. You go to the website, it's got all the forms and instructions for submitting a request, and you get that request into the office by the 1st of October. So, I trust everything is clear now. We have 3 buckets, 2 faucets, and a leak. Pretty straightforward. So, drop me an email with your comments, questions, and recommendations. Thanks for listening.